Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the program. This is Chris live in Central Pennsylvania. What's with a no video comment? There's obviously video. What are you talking about? All right, welcome back. Special broadcast here. Welcome back to the program. This was a request to talk about a situation taking place with Operation Pet Lift, this effort to assist South African refugees bringing pets over here. Now, you may recall that a few weeks back, I had Morgan on the program from Wyoming. These are not the droids you're looking for. No refugees are welcome in Wyoming. No, just nobody's going there. That's my refuge, not for you. But seriously, Morgan came on the program to talk about this. It all stemmed from someone coming in my chat claiming it was just $200 to ship pets to the States. I said that's impossible. Then the person ran off and spoke in some WhatsApp groups and Facebook and disparaged me and lied about me and lied about what I said. And then I found out about Marco and then about Morgan. Someone put me in touch with them. They asked to come on the program. Morgan came on. She explained what was going on with the program. We sorted it all out. But now there's some drama happening with Operation Pet Lift. And I've been contacted by both Marco and by Morgan. We had a conversation a short while ago. And I felt it was important to bring Morgan on. So with that, folks, let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome back to the program, Morgan. It's a pleasure to have you back. I'm sorry that it's under these circumstances.
Yeah, I am sorry too, especially for the people who were working with us. It's unfortunate.
All right, well, let's get into it. So first off, we should talk about there is some discord with someone who's causing issues. And I want to get something out there first off. Your effort is a registered nonprofit organization, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me on anything I get wrong here. Registered nonprofit, and you've been working with the U.S. government to bring pets over at the same time as refugee arrivals coming to the States. It's a project that's going to have a proof of concept at some point. People come over, and then it's just hopefully become kind of a norm. You're also been getting donations from groups in America and elsewhere to help lower the cost to the refugees coming over so they don't have to pay much, if anything at all. That's the goal. So this is taking place, and there is someone, one other thing I want to say is that if I understand correctly, Operation Pet Lift doesn't run any WhatsApp groups. So if there's a WhatsApp group claiming to represent you, that is not correct. Am I correct in that statement?
Yes, we only give out information through Facebook and our website, and that's just to try to keep anything fraudulent to a minimum. And we've reduced that even more now since we've had issues.
Well, let's talk about these issues specifically. I mentioned something that was done to me, and that's how we came to know each other, because someone was slandering me and lying about me and getting it wrong. And you clarified that when we talked about it, because the $200 thing was about the cost of a titer test. And hopefully the goal is to get this down to nothing for everybody. But someone ran around and just ran off of the mouth saying, oh, it only costs $200 to send a pet to the States. And I can attest that's not the case. You can attest that's not the case. But your group is making an effort to raise funds to lower that cost as much as possible with a goal of getting it $200 or less. Is that correct?
Yes. And we've secured quite a bit of funding through, donations and then different types of loans. So I guess the $200 is specifically for the titer test and for the kennel, and the people have to pay that direcectly.
Okay. Well, the
way that it's set up. I
don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I just want to mention that's how we came to know each other, why we've been in contact before. And so you guys reached out to me because you're concerned, and I have not an insignificant audience, especially amongst refugees aspirants who want to come over. So we're going to talk about this. So can you tell me what's going on? Is someone, I hear that someone's raising money using Operation Pet Lift's name, and the money's not for Operation Pet Lift. Is that true?
Yes, and we also issued them a cease and desist letter. I sent it by email post and placed it on the Facebook just so that people understand that that is fraudulent, what they're doing.
So can we talk specifically about it? I mean, is it okay to do? Can you tell people so they're aware of what's going on here, or is it something you're just keeping under your hat for the moment?
No, we can talk about it because I want to protect people.
Well, please tell us the details. I mean, the inquiring minds want to know, Morgan.
Okay. So there's a lady that I have never met or talked to, and her name is Nicole Veltman. She had some conversations with Marco. She was told not to raise money on GoFundMe in our name, and she just kind of left that and set it there. And then what she did is she tried to change the name of the GoFundMe, but she left all of our credentials and our logo on the bottom. When she's talking to people, she's using our logo on the top of her WhatsApp groups. And unfortunately, she doesn't really speak for us. She doesn't really understand the inside operations for the import export or what we're doing with titers. And she's just been going around trying to convince people that she is actually in charge of the group or involved in the group. And what she's doing is fairly fraudulent. And she's been offering services. And then I get complaints that they haven't received those services, and she's been offering them on WhatsApp. And then, like they come back and they say, hey, Operation Pet Lift did not get me my microchip, and we do not issue microchips. Your rabies vaccination, your 5-in-1, and your microchip are your responsibility as a pet owner. And so you may have some fund drives, which she has organized. And I do appreciate the fact that she wants to help animals, but she can't use our name or associated logos with this, especially if she's choosing not to, go ahead and give people the services that she's taking money for. That's actually very much so against the law. And having a fundraiser in the name of an organization when you don't have any affiliation with them or permission is actually against the law as well.
So let me get this straight. Two things very quickly here. The first, if I understand it correctly, Operation Pet Lift does not run any WhatsApp groups. You simply use your Facebook page and your server, your domain, your WhatsApp, or your domain, your internet site. So those two things. That's the first thing. The second thing is that Nicole Feldman is not associated with Operation Pet Lift in any way. She's not an officer, a member of the board of directors, or anything like an employee. She has nothing to do with you guys, correct?
Absolutely not. She is not a member of our organization, nor has she ever been. She has arrange things, but it isn't actually through us.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, that doesn't make you a member. I mean, I've helped arrange something, helping you guys with some vets, if I recall, in South Africa who offered services to help for microchipping, but I have nothing to do with Operation Pet Lift. I just facilitated them getting in touch with you. I don't know if that went anywhere, if you used them, but my point is that I'm not part of your operation, and so she did something similar. She's not part of Operation Pet Lift, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. By the way, was that helpful what I facilitated, or did anything come of that?
We actually used one of the vets to put us in contact with, and now she is running our titer program.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
It
really helps people.
All I did was pass information, but I'm glad I was able to be a conduit for that. All right. So this sounds like it's causing all kinds of chaos. I've heard there's been a lot of drama in WhatsApp groups over the past few days. I haven't seen any of it. I've just heard from a lot of my viewers, oh, man, they're like, this Operation Pet Lift is a crap show now. What's going on here? That's the purpose of you talking to me today, is to sort this out, correct?
Yes, I just want to make sure to protect my people and to maintain our integrity, since we are a 501c3 organization.
Yeah, which is a legal entity here in the United States, and there are legal obligations, and therefore that's another reason why Morgan has come on the program, because she's got legal responsibilities and she cannot allow people to act in the organization's name in an unlawful fashion. That's why she sent a cease and desist letter. Neville asked for the web address and Facebook page. Neville, do you read the descriptions of videos? The only thing in the description of this video is the website. The Facebook address will go up there later on, but this was a very short notice live stream. I've been broadcasting since 9 o'clock this morning. It's now 5 o'clock. That would be 8 straight hours. So we set this up in very short notice because it's such an important issue we need to deal with this weekend. So Morgan, what are some of the things? I mean, I heard, look, I don't like rumors, so I want to hear it from you guys. Is there a truth to the fact that your organization tried to set up regional coordinators so that you could help people in different provinces manage and understand what they're supposed to do? But that I've heard that Ms. Feldman focused on Gauteng, and that left everybody behind. Is that untrue, or is that a true statement?
It's a true statement. Unfortunately, because she focused so much on the Gauteng region, a lot of our people are behind for what we need them to do to be able to get on a flight, which is unfortunate. and it's going to make us kind of be in a rush.
All right, so it kind of left a lot of people behind and left them in the dust, and that wasn't your intent. Your intent was to help people across the country, correct?
Yes, we want to help everybody anywhere that actually qualifies for the refugee program, and that's any minority. So telling people not to get their rabies shots in a timely manner puts them behind by 28 days.
Ouch. 28 days could make all the difference in the world. You would have to leave your pets behind because either you go or you don't go. And some people, as tied as they are to their pets, which I understand, might make the decision not to go and then get stuck and wind up at the back of the queue. And who knows when they get to go in later on. That would be tragic.
Yes.
So Morgan, what's the situation here then? So if people want to participate in the effort that you're organizing as a not-for-profit organization to help South African refugee aspirants who want to come to America with pets, they should go to the address that's below this video, which is your website. Yeah. And that information is shared only there. And then you also have a Facebook page, which I'll put in later on. So any WhatsApp groups that someone's created have nothing to do with you whatsoever. You guys don't participate in WhatsApp groups, do you?
No, we do not.
All right, so those are just a bunch of cockprodders. All right, I noticed that you picked up on how to pronounce Gauteng, but I don't know if you know the phrase cockprodder, if you picked up on that yet. That's a crap.
No, I haven't. I think my dad told me I'm teaching all the South Africans bad American words because I was in the Army.
Okay, so well, Morgan, that means a crap talker. Oh, yeah, but it begins with an S, a cockprodder. Okay, so I thought I'd share that with you. Okay, so what you're saying is we should G9. We're not telling you to do anything. No one's telling you to leave any WhatsApp groups. No one's telling you to leave any Facebook groups. What we're telling you is that if you want to deal with this organization, which is a 501c, is it correct? A 501c?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 501c3.
Right. 501c3, which is a category of nonprofit here in the States. If you want their assistance, if you want to participate with them and potentially lower the cost to bring your pets over and possibly even have your pets come over with you when you come over, that's something they're working on as well, then you need to go to their website below the video if you haven't done that already. But if people are telling you things in WhatsApp groups, unless they're just chatting and they've had experience with them, they're not speaking on behalf of Operation Pet Lift, correct?
Correct.
And that's why we're having this live stream, to make sure that people are not confused, because there are people out there spreading confusion.
Yeah, they're spreading misinformation, which I'm afraid is going to defraud people or cause them not to be able to get on a flight or have assistance with, getting their pet here. And then on the other side, we're working with a couple of different charities that are, tied into the refugee status program to try to get them housing that's specifically for pets so they can keep their dog with them in the housing. And the refugee program, as it normally operates, doesn't focus on that.
All right. Now, Marco has just said that, I think that's the same Marco. Yes. I didn't know he spelled it that way. Okay. He said the Facebook page link is on the website as well. So you've got the link to the website. That should be sufficient to get to both places. So a question here, Morgan. People are asking, I'm going to phrase this in my own words. Well, since we can't use the WhatsApp groups, how are we supposed to ask questions? Where do people ask questions? I don't know if you have a staff for that. I mean, if you want to take questions, we'll take them tonight, and that'll address some of these concerns. People can watch this after the fact. Are you okay to take questions tonight?
Oh, yeah, we can take questions. And then as well, once they get on the Facebook group, we do have sub-messaging groups where that are regional. So we have both, and I don't mind taking any questions.
Okay, well, folks, if you want to stick a few questions out here now, reasonable questions, not troll questions, I'll pick through them and pick some of the ones that make the most sense that come up here, and we'll deal with that. So we've just started. We've only been at this, about 8 or 9 minutes, and we're not going to end it right now. So this will give Morgan a chance to answer some questions. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who follow this from the very beginning, and the OGs, the original gangsters have been with me since the beginning on this refugee situation, know that on the 7th of February, within the first 10 minutes, what did I warn you about? I warned you about grifters, shysters, flim-flam man, and outright thieves. We know about the guy who claimed to have a list and he would get you on the list, and a bunch of people were hoodwinked by it. I warned people about that. The program is free. It costs nothing. But I've always said you have to pay for your pets. And that's the deal. Now, these folks are trying to make it so you don't have to pay, or you pay very little. And that's very generous of them. They're not getting compensated for this, to my knowledge. They're just doing this out of the goodness of their heart. I mean, I've already added up the amount of consulting time that I've done, Morgan, at what I make per hour for consulting. And I've given over $200,000 of free advice since February. So, I mean,
that's very kind of you.
I don't think people realize
Kind.
that. And all I do is become a target and a lightning rod for the hate wankers. So, all right. So here we go. Let me see if we got questions over here. Will the pilot group be affected? Okay. I don't know if you can address that. They're not affected. Okay. They're not affected by this at all. Okay.
No.
What's the ballpark figure to relocate a small cat? I don't know if you have an answer for that because you're still working on donors and you're also trying to space this money out, I imagine. But I can tell you that when I brought my cats back, it cost $2,800, but that's not going to be your cost.
No, it won't be. What I would do is, if I had that question, is I would just get on the portal. We'll be discussing those things with the pilot group, and then as soon as we finish out the first group, I will have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen with all of you, and then you'll have all the associated documents for the cost and everything published there. So.
Okay. All right. There's a question here, or a statement here. Leon says on the website, on one of the questions, it says they have a WhatsApp on Operation Pets Lift website, but you guys just said you don't. Is that a mistake, or was that an early on thing, or did somebody answer a question and that's what he's reading?
We earlier had WhatsApp groups, but what happened is we were getting so much fraudulent information and misinformation that was going around. I think you probably have noticed I don't use WhatsApp very much. I'm more of a Facebook kind of person. Yeah. So I guess what happened is I made a decision to close down the WhatsApp groups because I felt like too much fraud and misinformation was going around, and I wanted to narrow the channels of information to make sure that what we were giving them is the most accurate information to use, so that, you know, we are following what our 501c3 guidelines and business plan said we would do.
All right. So early on, you did have some WhatsApp groups, but I seem to recall when this, like a month ago or so, that you guys took these down. So I would ask that you have someone go and remove that from your website so we don't have confusion after this.
I'll talk to Marco about that.
Okay. And as far as using Facebook, come on, Grandma. Come on.
And I'm not very good millennial. I have to say I'm a bad millennial. I don't even have Instagram. I saw some, I guess it's because I'm from Wyoming, you know, like what I got from that was like they were all running around unclothed or something.
Okay, well, things move a little bit faster out in the mountain states, out in Wyoming. I know I used to be out there. All right, let me see what else we got here. People have often confused Nicole with Nikki. Nikki is the vice president and part of the original founding board members. Okay, that's Nikki. Okay. Thank goodness we're in the time frame for our baby's test, says Leanne Crystal. Olga says, I was offered to cut for free to get some funds. I'm not going to do what? Left the group. Okay, so sorry. Oh, you're not asking a question. How will you guys coordinate the flights? Well, Indy, I don't think that's something we can share unless you're asking how will you be contacted. Maybe that's what if you're asking how will you know in South Africa, are you able to address that process at all, or is that something we have to keep quiet with the State Department for the moment?
When you get closer to your flight, I think we're probably comfortable with saying this at this point in time. You will be contacted by phone. We have all of your numbers if you are in the data system, and we will tell you that your time has come up, what place you're leaving from, and where you need to stay the day before. Those are our intentions right now, unless they change, and then I will disseminate that information.
All right, well, there you go. So assuming you have to fill charter flights, but you aren't involved in selecting refugees, how often will you have planes coming out? As not everyone has pets. That's a little detailed there, Indy. I think we'll leave that for now. Put a pin in that. We've been with Operation Pet Lift from the beginning. They've been tremendous in getting info out. Thank you, Morgan and Marco, for everything you're doing. That's Freeth 1000. Sharon is asking, what does it cost to relocate her Boerboel? Weighs 72 kgs. That is a big dog. 70 kgs, man. That's like a horse. That's like a Shetland pony, not a dog. The cost is something that's it's still in the works. So hang in there. Confirm pet lift process for those unaware or possibly misinformed, as the website also helps to understand the process. I guess Anime is confirming what we just said. Well, thank you, Anime. Can we thank Elaine, Benita, and Miss R for staying true and helpful on info and updates as they've shared thus far in the Western Cape? Don't know who they are. I guess you know who they are, Morgan.
That's actually my administrative team, and I really appreciate all the free work they've been putting in. They contact people and they answer questions. I'm sure you could probably understand how much time I actually spend on the phone with the charter companies, different departments in the government trying to manage this. So the fact that we have so many volunteers who are willing to disseminate the information after I talk to them, I really appreciate the hard work they put in.
All right, cool beans. So first question to Nicole privately was, does OPL have communication with the State Department? Because how do they know when we'll be traveling? The answer is yes, correct, Morgan?
Yes, we have connections at the embassy, and then we also have some connections in the, and I always mix these words up in the order they should go, refugee, migration, and resettlement bureau. I'm sure I flipped some of those around.
It's PRM.
Yeah.
Population, refugee, and anyway, that's, yes, PRM is the bureau, but that's fine. Yeah, so you do have contacts there in the States and in South Africa that you're working with the U.S. Department of State that is helping make this happen. Okay, do we have to resubmit our information regarding our pets that we have submitted via the Google form? We filled in, what Google form? You do have a Google form?
Apparently, Nicole Feltman was running some Google forms. So if it isn't on the website, then you're not in the database, which will make it difficult for me to work with people to arrange housing or to help you get onto a flight or arrange your titers. All right, and gets you through the customs paperwork.
So there's the answer, Bruce. If you haven't gone to the website, then you're not in the database. That's not going to get you over here with Operation Pet Lift. G9 says, oh my word. Why are you saying, oh my word, G9? What's that all about? 3 forms she had. So, all right. You're welcome for the update, Bruce, and thank you for the question. Again, I'm not coming from South Africa's refugee. I don't have any pets. My last pets were 2 cats, and they've both perished. They both died, but they had good lives. One of them was a pickup a stray from the streets of Tunisia, and Prince went through 8 of his 9 lives before he finally passed. He had a rough life, but a wonderful experience living in my house, making me sneeze all the time. And then his friend Tara, she lived to be 23. She lived to be 23 years old. Just died a couple years ago. So, yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time, huh, for a cat. But, some South Africans are writing to me, and Morgan, they're saying, do I have to keep my cats in the house? And I'm thinking, if you want them to live, we got things out here to eat cats, man. You don't want your cats wander around outside. But anyway.
Yeah, we have foxes and coyotes and mountain lions, and I've had a cat get eaten by an eagle when it was out in the field. So, yeah, I would definitely keep it. If it's a cat you like and it's not a barn cat, I would keep it in the house.
If it's a cat you like. I like that answer. Some of us have torturous relationships with our cats because you don't own a cat. They own you, in case you didn't know that. So, all right.
They do.
So let's see what else we got here. G9, I only completed the Google form and was contacted. All right, G9, if that's the path you want to take, but I don't know that path is going to get your pets over here. It's certainly not going to get your pets over here through Operation Pet Lift, correct, Morgan?
If we have documents on there, I'm not quite sure. The format is that you have to go to the website. The form that you fill out on the portal is the only form we have that goes into our system. If you filled out a Google document that somebody emailed to you, most likely it's not the appropriate document. So you need to make sure you go to the portal, fill out all of the documentation in the portal. It has a very similar website name to our actual website. And when I have looked it up online, if you use the Google search engine, it's like directly below our regular website.
Well, there you go. So. All right. So Olga says, thank you so much for all this, clearing this up. She was very confused yesterday with everything happening. I presume she's talking about WhatsApp groups that I'm not part of.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the estimated time frame for the second and third groups that were contacted for proof of concept? I don't know what Danielle's talking about. Second and third. Are there second and third groups for proof of concept, or was it just a one, I thought?
We have one proof of concept, and then our intention is once we have cleared everything up, we will have 8 flights currently.
Okay.
So that's what she's talking about. I don't want to give a timeline because that's secured information, and that actually can put people in danger. So,
well, it's also not guaranteed at this time because there's still things coming together, correct? Yeah.
Yes, we have to make sure everything clears with that proof of concept, and that we're good with the State Department for any flights following the first one.
So,
and of course the charter.
Okay. Well, a quick question: any Burmese pythons coming over? Because I don't want them here.
Somebody wanted to send a snake, and I don't do snakes, and I am the only person on the pet plane for the dogs and cats, and I'm assuming they would have sucked that snake with me. So there's going to be no snakes, no scorpions, and no spiders coming on that plane.
Okay, I didn't hear you say there'd be no rhinoceri or any horses coming over. No hoofed animals.
Well, there'll be horses and hawks coming over.
Horses and hawks. But, what is this?
Yeah,
is this hunting season?
Yeah, apparently. We'll have horses and hawks, but I'm not taking any snakes or spiders or scorpions. I don't need anything that's going to get out of the cage and land on my head, cause me to have a coronary event.
Gotcha. Indy, who I haven't seen on my channel in donkey years, is saying, thank you, Morgan and team. Without you, I wouldn't be able to go as I couldn't afford it and wouldn't leave my animals behind. Well, that's an example right there. So what you're doing, if you're successful pulling this off, Morgan, is going to help people that would have refused to come because they just won't leave their pets behind. So that's nice. When registering the portal, it asks when ready to leave. I assume this is a thumbsuck time frame as we're still waiting on a call. Danielle, I'm not sure why, and Morgan asked why she's asking unless it's trying to sync with what you put in your statement of interest, because you're not going to be a RefG unless you've done a statement of interest, unless you were one of the PRM emails in the beginning, and those are all being migrated statements of interest anyway. So the time frame on there, I think they're trying to make sure they sync. But again, the purpose of the time frame for the State Department was to gauge when people think they're ready. I mean, if you have a business and a house and a kid in college and you want them to finish high school, then you may not be ready to go in 3 months or 6 months. You're going to say 9 months a year. But none of that locks you into anything. You know, they'll do background checks and vet you and get you ready before that if they have space for you in the process, so it doesn't slow you down. So what was the purpose of you guys including a time frame? Was it in fact just to see if it synced up with what they gave on the statement of interest?
Yes.
Okay.
It was more a security question. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. You're just trying to see if, because you got people that are playing games out there too. So will Morgan be flying with the fur babies? It sounded like she was. So that means
I am actually going to be on the plane. I have talked to the State Department, my U.S. representative. I'm actually going to take responsibility and ownership of the pets until they land. And then you will have responsibility and ownership of them once they land so that they are U.S. property. So I will be in charge of that until you come pick them up at the facility where they will be processing through for the CDC.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I can tell you this, folks. I'm not flying on a plane full of pets, so I won't be on that flight. I'll just tell you that right now. If anybody's even going to try to sniff that idea, don't even try it. It's not going to happen. I can't spend 17 hours in the back of a plane sneezing because it's full of cats. That's just not going to happen. Anyway.
Yeah, 35 cats, from my understanding.
Yeah, well, that dander will definitely make me sneeze. So there won't be enough handy wipes on the flight to take care of that problem. Okay, Marco was on the WhatsApp group. Yes, Ragman, and what does that mean? That's probably how he knows about it. It doesn't mean it's his group or that it's affiliated. I'm in WhatsApp groups. People put me in them. I didn't ask to be put in them all the time, and then I get attacked. Oh, I was kicked out of your group. What group? They like, out of your group. I've got a bunch of groups. What group? They give the name. I'm like, that's not my group. Yeah, but you're in there. Dude, someone put me in there. I have nothing to do with it. So don't presume because somebody's in a WhatsApp group, they own it unless they're listed as the owner. Okay? So, folks, don't make the mistakes.
I have a statement about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
He was actually on some of those WhatsApp groups on my behest because I asked him to just observe what was going on so that I could see if it was causing a problem. And then once we closed them down, the problem groups actually kicked him off so that he actually could not represent our organization anymore.
Well, what I will say about that, Morgan, is if a WhatsApp group kicked him out and he's a part of Operation Pet Lift, that would tell me that the people that have the WhatsApp group are frauds. Why in the world would you kick the people who are part of the operation out of the group? It's kind of like I was kicked out of a refugee group that someone put in there. They made me down as an admin, and then they kicked me out. What the hell is that? I mean, you put me in there. So that so they sound very fraudulent. Indy said that watches my videos often still, just sometimes miss the lives. Don't comment. No, Indy, I just said I hadn't seen you in a while. I didn't say you weren't watching the channel. You didn't have to put an exclamation point. I appreciate your viewership. I'm just saying I didn't see you chat. See, I notice when people chat. Okay. All right. So sorry, my nose is really itching today. Someone must be talking about me. That's the old wives' tale. And Anime says, God bless your heart, Morgan. Are people still able to register on PetLift? I believe so.
Yeah, we will keep it open. And as long as I have the funding and ability to safely come and safely leave, I will be trying to help you guys.
Well, in Morgan, I would imagine even if funding dries up, you'd still be able to help organize if people are able to pay their own way, or at least give them information on what they need to do, right?
Yes, absolutely. And with the contacts I have with the carrier, I can actually greatly reduce the price from what they would pay for a private carrier. So,
all right. So
I will try to help them as long as I can.
Well,
absolutely.
there you go. There you go. So Yanni says, I can't remember seeing a document to be complete on the portal. I registered my pets though. Where can I find this document in the portal? I don't know. Is it like a tab at the top, or is it a link in the middle somewhere?
So the website is one thing, and then the portal is underneath it, and the portal will actually ask you for your name, and then it will ask for some documentation. You have to make a password, and then as you're entered into that system, it'll ask you how many pets and everything. I'll have Marco go ahead and give you the portal website as well, just so that they have that since they need it.
Okay, that'll be great. And then I'll put it in the description. So Leon says, Colonel, thank you very much. This is clearing up this entire pet move as well. No, you're very welcome. Look, and I want to thank Morgan and Marco because I'm not a cock prodder. I don't BS people. And when someone came in my chat and spewed that nonsense about $200, all I said is that's impossible. And for that, I got a lot of grief. I got slandered. I was lied about. It cost me viewers. And you know what? If people want to throw their toys out of the pram and disappear because they don't like what I have to say, that's too bad for them. I don't really need them here. But Marco and Morgan didn't look at it that way. They were probably told that I was talking nonsense about their Operation Pet Lift. I just said I never heard of it. I went looking for it. I couldn't find it. There's a bunch of Operation Pet Lifts, and they were in the process of registering it as a 501c3 at the time. So their feelings weren't hurt. They didn't buy into nonsense. They contacted me and said, "Hey, can we come on and talk about it?" And we did. And folks, that's what you need. You need to deal with rational adults who actually don't lose their shit, their crap when someone, and look, Morgan's a veteran, as am I, so there's some mutual respect right there. And that's where we started from. So, I want to thank you guys for, not buying into the nonsense that others said. And I'm glad I was able to give you an opportunity to come on previously. And I'm really glad that today we're having this conversation because apparently it's been a crap storm on these WhatsApp groups the last 24 hours.
Yeah. And I feel, like I said, I apologize to our membership. I tried my best to close that down and politely remove myself from that person. And then I saw that she wasn't going to allow me to do it with kindness and politeness. And so I had to take the more direct approach of, issuing that cease and desist order. And, then you have to come and talk about it because we need transparency.
No, I agree with you 100%. That's fantastic. A couple other comments in here, Morgan. Let's see. So Indy said, no worries. The exclamation was said with a smile, not a shout. I didn't take it as a shout. I use exclamation points a lot. I'm just saying that I was just letting you know I recognize. That's my way of letting you know, Indy, that I noticed you. Okay. All right. So we waiting on the tighter test code. What does that mean? Or Leo Anderson? That's a question mark. It's not really a question. It's a statement with a question mark at the end.
Okay, so I have the tighter code. I have about 4 sanctioned veterinarians. If you're 20 days out, 28 days out, and you're in the portal system, you will see that all of a sudden the color on your ability to fill out the tighter form will change. And so what I need you to do, if you are that 28 to 30 days out, is go ahead and check that form, or get on the Facebook group and look for your local coordinator and just discuss that with them, because we have vets everywhere, and those vets work with IDEX under our behalf and under our appointment, and they will go ahead and they'll actually draw that blood and pretty much just charge you the IDEX and vial charge. So you need to go ahead and just talk to your coordinator.
Morgan, again, for clarity, I mean, for dog owners, they probably know this, but for the general audiences listening, the titer test is for canines, and it has to be done in a certain window for departure. Is that correct?
Yes, you have 1 year. So it has to be done 30 days after a rabies test, and then it is valid for 1 year. So you have to have a titers for dogs, rabbits, guinea pigs, just because the type of rabies they have is actually transmittable to humans. Apparently, some other forms are not as virulent to people. So that's why the CDC requires that titer test.
Now, can we require titer tests for cock prodders and bullshitters? I'm just wondering.
I think we ought to require the rabies shot.
Hey, I've had the rabies shot. That's no fun picnic, man. It's 3 shots, and it's like this really seriously pink color, and it's a big horse needle, and you got to get them in 3 stages. If you miss one, you got to start over. And there's always a shortage of rabies vaccine, so good luck if you mess that up. But yeah, my first trip to Africa, I was required to have the rabies vaccine. Then, because they didn't have enough vaccine, they gave me an exemption every time after that. But man, that's not fun for humans. I don't know about the dogs, but it's not fun for humans.
I think it looks a lot thicker too, from what I've seen.
And it looks kind of syrupy, man. It didn't go in very fast. I was like, come on, can you finish that up now? Thank goodness it went in my arm and not in my bum. I probably wouldn't have sat down for a week with that. Daniel Whitfield wants to know if there's a way for his wife can assist with volunteer work. I assume that Daniel Whitfield's wife is in South Africa. And is there a way for them to contact you guys if they want to volunteer and help out in some way?
Yeah, just reach out through the Facebook and message Marco or myself or Nikki, and we'll see what we can have you do.
All right. Okay, some people just tuning in now. The audience is growing. So is there a way you can chat directly to Morgan? Well, Hannes, if 18,000 people chat directly to Morgan, then nothing gets done. So I don't know what measure. How do you ask people to contact you? Is it through an email in the portal, or is it no, leave me alone, I'm busy? Is there a way for people to contact you, or should they contact?
Typically, if they go through their coordinator and then they talk to Nikki and Marco and they're having like an issue that I'm going to have to address, using congressional, communications or something, then they will end up talking to me. Right now, because of the stage that we're in with actually developing stuff, I pretty much am stuck talking to the government. But at some point in time, I intend to Teams all of them and discuss how it's going to look on the days we go to the airport and everything. And they'll be able to ask me questions at that point in time.
Oh, that's a good idea. So you'll have like a Zoom or a team session in which people can all pop in, and then they'll be able to hear what you have to say and ask questions. That'll be a long session. That'll be like my meet greets that were supposed to be an hour that went for 6 hours. I talked. That was exhausting. You're going to learn the hard way, Morgan, when you offer yourself for free. It isn't pain-free. All right. So we still have time to contact Operation Pet Lift about our pets, as I was in the dark with this other lot. Did not look very legit. Thank you, Morgan. Yeah, Leon, as we said, even if the funding dries up that they're gathering from donors to reduce the cost, even if that dries up, Morgan will still be able to offer advice, and she's negotiated discounts. So even if you have to pay for things out of your own pocket, you're going to be paying a lot less, and she can help coordinate. Plus, she has the contacts at PRM, and she has the contacts at the embassy, so that if something is awry, they can maybe give you advice to help you out. So yeah, there's still time. But if you want a free ride with your pets to come over with you, get your information and go to their website and fill that stuff out. So Narina says, Morgan, all the volunteers, whoops, it jumped ahead on me here. Where you at? Come back here, Narina. So the chat does this sometimes. Where the heck did it go? Man, am I that far behind? Hang on a second here. Okay. No, okay, I just disappeared. And my timestamps aren't on here. This software does this sometimes. It just drops the timestamps. Okay, I was there. Okay, coming down here. Sorry. Okay, getting closer here. Morgan, you are sent to us by God to help with our babies. Thank you. Marco and Nikki as well, says Olga. Okay. Danielle says, thanks for the feedback. Aurelia says, thanks, Morgan and Chris. Are we going to be notified when we have to do the test? I think we just covered that, didn't we? With the thing
yeah,
changing?
you will actually, you'll actually see it on the portal, and there will be an email. So you just need to keep going in and checking the portal as you get close to that 28-day window.
Okay. All right, Leanne Crystal says, thank you for clarifying everything. Matt, myself, and hubby are feeling relaxed with the interview and you letting us know what's happening. Cannot wait to leave and to meet you, Marco. Well, guys, I mean, look, I'm knackered, quite honestly, after calling a rugby game this morning, calling another rugby game, plus I was up till 3 last night, and then doing my news broadcast, and I was just going to take a break and get something to eat and probably take a little nap like an old guy in the afternoon here because I'm tired. And then Morgan said, can we talk today? We talked, and I realized the urgency of this because of what's been going on in WhatsApp groups over the last 24 hours. So Morgan and I are taking our time right now. I know Marco is listening in the chat, so he's also here and he's addressing some things. So you're very welcome. It's our pleasure. Again, I have no affiliation with Operation Pet Lift other than doing the interviews and letting you guys know about it. And if they're able to help you guys, that's fantastic. So Anime says, we appreciate getting on the matter so quick. A lot of people also did not really read feedback on the Feldsman matter and started panicking because they didn't read properly. Yep. Janine Boydendog says, hi, Morgan. Thank you so much for helping us. I appreciate it very much. I'm just a bit concerned now that the Google Forms contain personal details and this process is very sensitive. Well, okay, Janine, I don't know how I can put your mind at rest other than hopefully you can trust the person that has that information. But that information is probably not going to be used in a fashion that hurts you as far as you're coming over. And if you go onto their website and make sure you fill it out, make sure you've done that so you're in the queue. Otherwise, if they're not in the queue, they're not going to get helped, right?
Correct. You have to be in the portal. I actually look at the names and the locations, and I call people that I know in churches in those areas to actually try to get them sponsors, people to drive them around, people to help them go to the vet, make any appointments. Some of the churches have offered to set up carpools to help them get to work when they get a job. So I'm just trying to do my best to help you guys be successful.
All right, so Morgan, I want to go back to something here very quickly because I've almost caught up in the chat here. People ask your questions, bring their questions. I may have missed one, so if I missed it a while ago, then post again. But if I didn't answer in 2 minutes, please don't post it again, okay? But if it's been a while, go ahead and post your question again. So Morgan, okay, so you guys sent a cease and desist letter to this lady. Now, was she doing something fraudulent? Was she like raising money in your name?
Yes, she was raising money in our name, and then she was also saying that we didn't know what we were doing when she obviously hasn't been discussing the export or the import process. She's been talking about vaccines. So, like, I feel like she's kind of defaming us a little bit. And I think you probably could understand how much work, how many hours I have put into this, getting it to where they clear through the CDC, have an import station, have all their export documents cleared by that, organizing a vet to do the titers, finding a titers company that will do this within, a month to 3 months. So they're not waiting in that 9-month queue with the regular South African stuff. So, I mean, like, I was a little bit frustrated because I want them to understand the process is very complicated. We've streamlined it for them, and I don't want some person fraudulently telling them things that's going to make it to where it's very difficult for me to get their pet out or them.
Well, one thing here that NMA says, they also had veterinarians overcharging for the titer test, so it's advised to rather speak to coordinators in South Africa on where and with whom to have the titer test done when the time comes. That's what NMA says.
Yes. Like I said, that vet you sent me and a couple others have cleared. They're not charging the exorbitant extra prices that some of the vets are locally, and they're working through our IDEX partners. And we've been able to reduce the cost of that titer by about 2/3 what it normally costs, or even a fourth, depending on where you went to get it.
All right, excellent. So Sue Marie's wondering how you choose admins. I don't know what she means by admins. Does she mean the coordinators, perhaps?
Yeah, I think she's probably asking about the coordinators. I am on this American side, so I have a bunch of staff that works for me that I know on this side. Marco and Nikki, I trust them because they are on my board, and I have delegated that to them.
Okay, well, that's good to hear, and I think that's where that question was going. Lizette Fun Sales says, great website, Morgan. Very user-friendly. Thanks to everyone involved. Leanne Crystal, my son and I will also volunteer once that side. I assume she means coming over here. She does work in animal rescue in South Africa. Alan's trying to be funny, wants to know if he can bring a shark. No, Alan, the shark can come, you can stay. And anyway, so I just want, okay, Tuscan Sun 123 says, I want to confirm if we were contacted by Operation Pet Lift for the initial pilot test group, but there's been no follow-up, can we do a rabies booster test now? I don't know that they can until they get that update on the portal. Am I wrong?
If they've been contacted, I would suggest they reach out to the coordinator and just discuss where they're at with the titer, because we will organize that veterinarian visit for them. We actually, like, they will talk to us and we will actually give them all the information, or we'll have the vet come out to their area and all they have to do is show up to the location that we send the vet to.
Okay, Olga Russo is saying, will we be able to see our doggies while we are that side in the waiting place while we do all documents? My dog's never been alone. I'm willing to sleep in shelter with them till they realize. Well, I'll let her answer in a second, but I will tell you this. If you get to see your pets when you come over here and you're not in a waiting area or something like that, then you guys are special, because I'm an American, I'm a diplomat, I'm an officer in the Army, and my pets were thrown out with the baggage, and I was stuck when I came back after 9/11, and those pets, my cat was out there for 2.5 hours screaming, lonely, while we had to wait because they fired all the felons who were working for Customs Immigration back then, because they weren't doing background checks, and they did all the background checks after 9/11. I came back after Thanksgiving, that was September 11th, here it is November, and they were working at about 30% staffing. So we had about 4,800 people that had to go through Customs Immigration, and they kept bringing flights in and putting the bags on the belt, and they would take them off, and my bag or my cat's carrier was not put in a pet area. We were told when we paid to ship him over from Frankfurt that pet would be in a holding area, and that it would be fine. When I came out, my cat was screaming. And so if you guys get to see your pets, then wow, lucky you guys. But anyway, over to you, Morgan.
Okay, so wait 1 second here. I'm gonna. What's going to happen is we have 2 destinations where we're landing. And it's just because of federal regulation. You're going to land in a different destination than your pet. I will be with your pet, and I will be in contact with people on the planes. I will send you guys pictures if you're feeling the feels. They have to be in quarantine to process through the CDC process and get their paperwork for anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. It's mainly just so the vet can confirm the paperwork. Typically, if you'd been able to come, in a smaller, well, I'm not going to get into that, but it'll be like 24 hours. I will be able to go back there and check on them, and I will check on them. But the staff at the quarantine facility has 7 vets on staff. They have people that are there 24 hours. As sad as your dog will be, he will be with you, as soon as that's finished, and we are arranging for transport. So you'll get to come pick him up as quick as possible.
Morgan, there's a question here about cats and the titer test. In my understanding, cats don't have to take a titer test. Is that correct?
From my understanding of the CDC guidelines, you don't have to take the titer test for this side. It happens to be an issue that we're kind of running into with the South African government. I'm not going to really comment on that, but we're arranging it to where you will be able to meet both export and import demands, because they're different. There's demands for the export and there's demands for the import. I have vets working on both of those, so just follow the guidelines of the vet that contacts you.
Okay, excellent for that. G9 is saying, is there a way we can confirm if we're on the portal? If we only completed the G form, whatever that is, I was one of the first group who got an email from OPL. Now I'm just wondering if it was legit.
If you get an email, we were emailing out initially before we set up the website. So what I would do is I would just kind of reach out to your coordinator if you're on the Facebook page. If you look at the messenger groups that you're in, you should be able to find your coordinator. If not, just reach back out to us on the Facebook page by, either messaging Marco, Nikki, myself, or a coordinator, and we will try to get we can look at the portal and tell you if you made it through, so that your documentation is where it needs to be. Because there was one time where I did request that information, and the reason I requested that information before we had the portal set up was so that I could get price guidelines for some of the stuff I was working with the charter airline.
All right, excellent. So Olga says that yesterday there was so much happening with all those groups. Names changed, 100 messages were unsure, people kicked out. I was kicked out. Then I SMS'd Marco to clear all the confusion. Luckily, he told me what's going on. But Olga, that you're one person. That's why we're having this conversation now, because imagine 1,000 people, 2,000 people sending Marco messages. The guy's got things to do. So it's fortunate he's able to help you out, but that's why we're on here today. And Sammy Sam says, Morgan, you're amazing. A heart of gold. Thank you so much for what you and your team are doing for our fur babies. May God bless you and all involved. Now, 360 at 46 asked a question, which I know the answer to, but this one definitely will require quarantine, if I'm not mistaken. Can we do a parrot through this program? Yeah, you should be able to bring a parrot, right, Morgan? But they're going to have to be quarantined.
Okay, so with the parrots, I have arranged quarantine through the ARC, and I do have USDA approval to bring over birds. Some birds require ascites and others do not, so it will depend on the species of your bird, but we can help you with our veterinarian services to clear all of that. And then, of course, there will be a buccal swab that has to be taken for Newcastle and also for avian flu. It's just a requirement for any bird coming from your country, even though I hope that you're not like just letting it hang out in a tree.
Well, yeah, let's hope that their birds not hang out in a tree. Don't bring any Hadidas over here or those Egyptian geese. That ain't going to fly. Can a dog identify as a cat? Haha, funny, grown Rizla. Morgan, calming meds for pets. Vets suggested a protocol to calm them. Is that a necessity, Orlia? Or Morgan? Calming meds for pets?
If your dog has anxiety, you need to mention it when you go through and get your IDEX test to our vets. And then what we will do if your animal requires some anxiety medication is we will give it. There will be a vet on the plane that is through the charter company, as well as one of our private vets from Wyoming. And we will be able to make sure that they are, sedated enough that if they get so much anxiety, they try to eat through the kennel or something, that they'll be okay.
Okay. Well, that's a little frightening, the prospect of trying to eat through the kennel, but I've seen dogs like that before. They're not happy about being in kennels. So destination of plane landing for pets would differ from humans, but Morgan will be traveling with your pet, says Anime. I guess Anime must be one of your coordinators based on all the information she's been sharing. Okay. She's been one of my viewers, very loyal viewer lately. So, okay, people, your English is off sometimes, so I have to translate here. Will there be cages, and if they come from one household, will they be put together to comfort each other or be separated? I believe your pets are all going to have to be in separate carriers. Am I wrong about that, Morgan?
Yeah. So we have arranged with PetMate to buy U.S. Air guideline kennels at a discounted price. They'll be shipped over in bulk by our air carrier. That's part of the fee that we're giving you. Each of your animals will have to be separated, but we will try to place them next to each other if they're a family unit, and that'll also help us when we're placing them to be put into quarantine. And we'll have a form as we get closer that will tell us whether your animal would be better in a cage with its pet sibling when we get there and they're in that 48 to 24-hour quarantine.
Okay, well, there you go. That answers that question. So Sumari says, thank you all for the work management doing the answer. My offer still stands for the help, and the contact is very willing and discreet. We want to help, says Sumari. We play with the rules here. So guys, I don't think people realize how complex this is. I mean, just what Morgan talked about a moment ago, I can tell you organizing to purchase carriers for so many pets, different type of pets, different size pets that are going to come on the same flight, just those carriers alone, and getting them from a wholesaler or a retailer and getting the funding to get those things shipped to South Africa, that's insane in and of itself. Never mind organizing titers and veterinarians and State Department. Guys, this is something a logistics battalion would handle in the Army, right, Morgan?
Yes. It is quite a logistics circus, and it also is a coordination circus. It has so many moving parts, so it's not something I would when they say that they would use a pet broker if they were an individual, I can understand why they would say that.
Yeah, gotcha. Tam says, is there one proof of concept flight for the whole of South Africa, or has we been split into provinces? Well, there's proof of concept, but I believe it may be two flights, two destinations come over proof of concept, but it's for all of South Africa. It's not for one province, correct?
We have split them up into groups just kind of based on certain data. what we're trying to do is we will move the whole country. Your coordinators will discuss some of that with you as we get further into operations. But the first flight, I believe, is made up of quite a few provinces.
Okay.
So,
all right. So
they just have to drive, unfortunately.
Right.
Which I've heard is dangerous.
Well, it can be depending where you come from, but you got to get your pets to the airport. That's the thing. That's not something you're arranging. They've got to do that. So 1440 said they filled in the forms but got no response. What do I do now? Was it all a scam? Well, my question to you, 1440, is did you fill out forms that came through the WhatsApp groups, or did you go to the portal? I mean, because that's where you have to go. So if you didn't go to the portal, then you're not in the system, correct, Morgan?
Yeah, you have to be in the portal. And generally, from my understanding, and I will clear this up with Marco, maybe he can comment in the comment section. I believe that they're supposed to get an email once they've registered, just to make, just so that they know that they have actually been put into the system.
Boy, the questions here, people, I bet they don't take this good care of their children. I'm just saying, but any comfort toy or blanket allowed to be with the pets for anxiety during travel? I would imagine you're allowed to put something inside the pet carrier, or is that wrong?
Okay, so this would be my guidelines to you, because I have talked to the people that are, pushing the dogs through quarantine, which is pretty much just, the vets have to be able to check them, and we're bringing a few. So, anything that you put in the kennel, I will put into the cage with the animal. Anything that goes into that cage has to be thrown away afterwards. So if they're like a toddler and they have their favorite toy and they gnaw on the ear of it, and they've had it for 5 years, I would not stick that toy in there. I would stick a shirt that I wore a couple times that you're not attached to.
Good advice. I think that's sound advice. 360-46. Thank you, Morgan, saying it's a Timmy Gray. I assume we're talking about the parrot, and it's registered from a breeder. I will go and have a look at the program. She's only 4 years, so is going to live for long. Yeah, birds, that ever does it a long time. You're welcome.
Yeah.
From both of us. Grown Rizla, I'm going to warn you to stop being foolish. I'm not going to read your comment. That's silly. Morgan, after all this, you can open your own pet moving business.
True, I probably could, but I don't know that I would.
Yeah, after all this, you probably never want to do this stuff again. It's so crazy. Yanni says it's an insurmountable task. Hats off to you and your team, Morgan. Yep. A quick question. The data that was collected by Nicole, was that ever handed over to you or to Marco?
No, not that I know of. You can ask Marco down there, but as far as I have been informed, no.
Marco, can you answer that question and confirm? Okay, so what else we got here? It was on the portal. I've asked several times. 1440 says it was on the portal, and he's asked several times and got no response. If someone could look into that. 1440, if you send me an email or if you're in contact with Marco, just because I don't know who 1440 is. I mean, that's...
neither do I, but if he contacts us, we'll contact him.
All right, Rika Klos is thanking you. I see most states have banned or have tight restrictions on Rottweilers and Pit Bulls. No, Pit Bulls and Rottweilers are not banned in America. There are restrictions on them in many jurisdictions. And you have to understand, folks, that restrictions on pets are not simply a federal or state matter. They're local matters. And they're also, if you live in a homeowners association, that can be an issue. Your best bet if you want pets is to own a farm, but that ain't easy. Land is expensive over here.
It is. Well, and, there's some weight guidelines with some of the places that we're looking to house them, but, we're going to help them work through those issues because we have a lawyer and we have 2 real estate brokers.
All right, cool beans. People keep saying they didn't get emails. Well, don't sweat they're not getting emails, folks. Do you have the login, which Marco mentioned here? If you have a login, then just log in. Then what are you worried about? If you have a login, that means you're registered. Otherwise, you wouldn't have got the login.
Yes.
All right, so, that's kind of self-evident, folks. Marco says the data was handed over to you guys. Okay, well, there you go.
Okay.
So we didn't know. All right, so that's helpful. Thank you, Marco, for clarifying that. Who is Nicole, I'm going to ask? So Hayes is asking who Nicole is.
I've never met her. I know Marco and Nikki met her, but I didn't meet her.
She's a South African. Her name is Nicole Felbert or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, and she was on a bunch of our groups, and she kind of portrayed herself as being on the board, but I only have 5 members on the board, so it's pretty easy for me to keep track of their names.
That's not rocket science, is it now? Okay. Do we state veterinarian signed off ourselves the day before? I got grief from the state veterinarian reference all this. I don't know what Alan's talking about.
Okay, so working through IDEX, we have veterinarians who will take your paperwork to the state vet and they will clear you through export. So you just need to, if you had gotten the titers before, then you need to contact our vet and we will assist you with that process.
Okay.
But we actually have a process for moving everybody through the state vet.
Okay.
Legally.
Got you. Now, Olga has got lots of questions regarding French bulldogs. I didn't even know there was such a thing. Most airlines don't want to take flat-nosed pets.
Yeah, brachiocephalic dogs. Yeah.
So can a French bulldog go on this trip?
Yes. The reason that most airlines won't take a brachiocephalic is that they can't get too cold or too hot without experiencing heat stroke or, shock. We will be in a temperature controlled area in the plane. So they will be perfectly fine for the flight. And then what we will do is, because you can't fly them a lot of times with the temperatures in this country, we'll try to help you arrange driving to where you go to live.
Okay.
So the dog is safe.
Okay, got you there. Yeah, so that raises a question here. When the refugee aspirants arrive here as refugees, they are going to land in one of the few ports where you can arrive in from South Africa, because we only have a few flights that come to the States from South Africa.
Yeah.
And they're going to be going on to somewhere else. So if they've got one of these dogs that airlines don't want to carry, that might present a conundrum for them. Like, say they land in, say, Atlanta and they're going to Dallas. How is the pet going to get to Dallas? I don't know if you have an answer on that, or are they going to have to rent a car?
I actually do.
Oh, okay, cool.
So what we've been doing is we've been talking to people who do pet transport in this country, and we have gotten some reduced rates. And what they will do is they will take that family and that dog as passengers and drive them directly to their location where they want to live.
Wow, you guys really thought this out. See, look, I'm an analyst, right, among other things. And the first thing I thought of, that's what I thought of. But not everybody thinks that through. You guys obviously thought it through, too. So 1440 says, didn't get an email or any login details, but this is a bit confusing. Well, then you aren't registered on the portal. You must have gone to something. No?
Yeah, so I would go ahead and just get on the Facebook and try to get into one of the messaging groups, and then hopefully they'll be able to walk you through that.
Okay.
They're usually really good at helping you through the technical details. So.
Yeah, I think somebody here is talking about pit bulls. Guys, you need to chill. I mean, first off, what you're hearing about pit bulls is probably not the truth. The media likes to sensationalize. There are people who have pit bulls all over the country. The problem is that people have to be responsible owners of their pets. And that's why it becomes an issue, because some pit bulls wind up attacking children at times, and it becomes sensationalized. And then people act as if you can't have pit bulls. We have pit bulls all over this country. Am I wrong, Morgan?
No, there are lots and lots of pit bulls, and there are not. I think we actually have less restrictions on owning a pit bull than they do in Canada.
Probably.
So
well,
I guess
they've got restrictions on going to Tim Hortons in Canada.
That is probably true.
Yeah. Okay. After the test, will we then get our call for the interview? Interview for what?
I think she's probably talking about the refugee program. So, because I see this a lot. Just kind of reading through the comments, and I try not to get too involved with it. You're actually just going to go through the regular refugee process. We don't interfere with that. We can't pull you forward. We can't pull you back. They're going to call you and talk to you in the list of order they have. And then, we'll have the tests ready so that you're cleared to fly, so that your animal's also cleared to go with you.
Yeah, I think, let me just, again, Morgan, correct me if you know something different than I do, but if you have pets and you're participating in this program, you're not jumping the queue. If you don't have pets, you're not falling to the back of the queue. If you fall in the time frame when you were being processed to go and you want to participate in this and you're working with Operation Pet Lift, then you'll be included. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, there you go. Because some people might run out and buy themselves a hamster real quick. I want to go next. Just, I've got a pet. I got a hamster. I got to go. Anyway, so. All right. So can I put up the website? Crypto Dude, can you look below the video description? There's only one thing included in it above the dotted lines, and that is the link to the website. Please go there. You'll find it. It's funny, Morgan, because when I started doing these live streams of videos 5 years ago, people would, if I didn't put descriptions for my prepared videos, and I got a couple people coming, well, if you just put descriptions of your videos on there, then people would watch it more often. And so I put stuff in there and nobody ever reads it. And every show I got to go, well, look below the video. Look below the video. Anyway, so not attacking the person that put that up. I'm just saying it's very frustrating. Anyway, Tam says, thank you for bringing Morgan on, allowing viewers to ask questions directly. It's great to hear Morgan share information. We're also grateful for the initiative was started and all part thereof. Well, I'm glad that we can help out because Morgan will freely admit that this is kind of technologically a little bit behind her. She may be a logistician extraordinaire, but she's not an IT person extraordinaire.
No, absolutely not.
So we're happy to make this happen. Okay, what else we got here? Weird question, and sorry, we have an awesome cage for our parrot. I assume we won't be able to send this with it, and I will need to purchase a new cage that side and ensure we're ready for arrival. I believe that's the answer. You guys are getting the cages, so they're going to have to use the cages you secure, correct?
We have special boxes for them. They can send a picture of that to Marco, and he can tell them if it fits the requirements. If not, they actually will have a little bit of extra cargo space because of the way we're doing the flights, and they can just pack it up, and it'll be there when they get there.
Yanni Bosov says Morgan and Marco have done more for us than our own government has. Well, hell, I've done more for you than your government ever has. So they've done a lot, but it's a pretty low bar. I mean, all you really have to do is say hello and wish people well, and you've done more than the government of South Africa has done for its own citizens. But yeah, they've done amazing stuff. And Bruce is laughing about the hamster. Hey, man, if I can jump to queue with a hamster, I'll get a hamster. No gerbils, but a hamster. And I hate those guinea pigs. Those are creepy looking creatures. Pet Lift is really...
They make weird noise, too.
They do. They squeal. Gosh, they squeal. They're annoying. Yeah, they're like ex-spouses. They're annoying. Anyway, Pet Lift is really is thinking of everything. The public does not know that. I struggle with some concepts. I'm reasonably informed. Perhaps an email to all registered people concerning questions can help. Well, Sue Marie, I think that's a fair idea. But how about you just direct people to this live stream? And they can watch it, and they'll learn an awful lot, and it'll resolve all their angst, I think. Can we clarify around crates? People suddenly want to buy travel crates for hilarious amounts. Crates should be available to buy through PetLift. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. We haven't posted the link. I'm in the final processes of making the negotiations with PetMate. But we will have a link on the portal that will take you, and then it'll describe to you the size that we suggest for your dog for that long of a flight so that it can turn around, lay, and have a little space. And then they'll also have like a water bowl you can buy for your dog. And all of that will actually be listed on the website. It's just we're finishing up that deal. I'm sure what we're going to have, we're just trying to work on the portion where they can make it with their website work with our website. And then as soon as I have that done, I'll be handing it over to Marco and Jaden.
All right, cool beans. And 36046 says, can we do Operation Pet Lift after arrive and are settled? I think I convinced my mother to know. Okay, so I think 36046 is asking, can she bring her pets over through you guys after she's arrived in the States?
I'm doing that for some of the first 59ers who came.
Because there was no program for them. That's why, yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of their dogs are actually going to be on the first flight. Okay. It's one of those things where the coordination is a little difficult for us because somebody has to take their dog and give it the titer, make sure it has all the shots. The documents have to be signed relinquishing temporarily custody. And then, you're going to have to make arrangements to pick the dog up on the other side, and they have to be brought to the airport. So it's one of those things where I feel like we're discussing that, but we have no facilities to hold your dog. So they would actually have to stay with somebody you trusted like these first people did. So, and I'm not intending no offense to South Africa, to buy any property in South Africa or to hang out there more than I have to when I'm going over to fly with the animals and make my arrangements for export. I think it's because I'm from Wyoming and it's super hot, and also for my entanglements with their government, I think they're kind of weird. So I'm just going to stick with being an American.
Well, I'd also say that if you buy land, you'll probably have an illegitimate land claim immediately placed on your title. So you got to be careful with that too. There's a question from Hayes. Are documents for pets like pet passport? I don't know what a pet passport is, but I do know when you transport your pets internationally, there are a number of documents, and that's what this whole process takes care of, is putting all that together. And all that goes, my recollection, that stuff was attached, one copy of it, to the pet carrier.
Yes, there'll be one copy with the pet carrier. There'll be one copy of all that information actually put into my system here, so that if we have some issue with their government, that they will be able to register with us, and I'll be able to like call our lawyer or our PR representative or one of my treasurers or something, have all that information sent to me through the embassy. And then also they'll have one attached to their carrier, and then they'll have a copy, like I said, here, and then they should have a copy for them to carry. So there'll be 3 copies of all that documentation, the export documentation, all of the pet checklist, all of the CDC paperwork, the import paperwork, all of the custody forms, and the rest of that. They're going to have like a huge little paper packet for each dog.
No, a lot more than you carry. All you have is a passport and a paperwork from USCIS. Heinrich Shavanga is trying to be cute. He said, damn it, I was about to go get a meerkat. Well, the problem with that, Heinrich, is you can't take a meerkat because they'll die of loneliness. They are social creatures. You need to bring the entire family. And that's kind of challenging. It's going to cost you a lot of money. So stay away from meerkats. Now, Devin Steenkamp says, question, what do we do when our pets don't have microchips? They're a little expensive for me. What do we do in that case? Well, then your pets don't come. You're going to have to find a way to get microchips. Am I wrong? You cannot bring a pet over here without a microchip. I'm talking about dogs and cats specifically.
Yes, you cannot bring them over. We have some people who've done microchip drives. We also have the vet who, when she's doing their IDEX, can offer them that at a little bit of a discount. I guess the thing is, if you look at it that way, they should be able to get the microchip relatively cheaply. I know that it's kind of a imposition, but it's kind of like you have to buy your passport. And so that means that you're probably going to have to be able to get a microchip. I believe that they, Marco has a price listing for that. And I know that one of our registered vets, Katie, has been willing to help people with that. So they need to just reach out with that and then see what we can do for them to help them out a little bit.
Well, you know, Morgan, you say it's rather inexpensive, and I agree with you. It's rather inexpensive, but you have to understand when you say that, the grief that you'll get from people who start moaning that I'm not picking the person who said this, but start moaning. I mean, when we talk about passports, a South African passport costs about $32. Our passport is $180. And when I said that's inexpensive, oh my gosh, I became the world's biggest ogre and a meanie and insensitive and uncaring because I said it's not much money. And people, you know, a lot of people want to complain about that. And I said, well, okay, have you stood on a street corner and begged for money? Do you want to come here or not? Is your life in jeopardy or not? I would be standing on a street corner. Oh, there goes one of your dogs. I'd be standing on a street corner raising money. I would sell things. I would, you know, whatever it takes. I mean, look, I'm not picking on this question, but I'm just telling you that I got a lot of abuse for telling people it wasn't much money. And I was talking about $32. I'm sure that microchips cost more than $32.
I'm not actually quite sure what she's charging for them. I don't want to quote without knowing. We would have to ask Marco. I know she will help some people. And I guess the thing is like, unfortunately, with the way that this program, and I realize because now I have a whole bunch of people on there and I've talked to them, I realize that about 80% of the people we're helping are unemployed. So I understand that that is a hardship. What I can help with, I have been helping with, like we've been trying, when we have people who offer to give money, we've been trying to set up titers for people on the SASA grants. We will try to help you where we can. Some of it you're going to have to make a little bit of an effort. We do know people who microchip at like the SPCAs for either free or very low cost, and we'll try to point you in those directions. If you ask us, we'll try to get you the right resources to get you to the minimum amount, because I do have compassion for, the situation you're in. It's kind of like if I look for a job that I'm qualified for in the United States, I'm going to find 74 things that I'm qualified for, and then I'm going to have a job in a week. I understand that that's not how it is for them. I do have compassion for that.
I appreciate that. So Riyadh, and I can't attest this, but Riyadh is sharing that if you check with the local municipality in South Africa, they got the chip done for their dog for 200 Rand. We're talking about $11, folks, in Amanzimtoti, which is on the outskirts of Durban in KZN. Your municipality or SPCA may have specials from time to time, so check them, as you just mentioned SPCA. Kathleen Schultz-Boshoff, boy, that's a seriously German/Dutch name there. Schultz being German, Boshoff being Dutch. Are the flights stopping in December and resuming after winter? We're hoping to get an exit in March or April. Not that I know of.
Due to the fact that the weather will impact where we can land, and the dogs have to go specifically to their location and we cannot reroute, we most likely will have to desist sometime mid-December until about mid-February, because I can't transfer the import data from the carrier. So like if I go to Gateway or I go to Noah's or I go to Miami, I have to arrange for that 30 days prior, and then we have to land exactly there. And if the weather doesn't permit, then we have to cancel the flight and regain a reservation.
Okay. All right, cool.
So, and that's just a little extra complication, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm researching stuff with flights to Miami and Georgia, because the winter weather there is a little less severe. But there's only 7 locations where we can import these pets.
Yeah, that much I certainly knew without contacting you guys. So there's where's it at here? Hayes had another question. Can pets own food, water bowls accompany them in flight? I'm going to imagine the water bowl would probably be tossed out when you get here. I could be wrong, and I don't know if they can bring their own food. Can they do that?
So that's actually going to run into a USDA guideline. All these animals are going into quarantine. The horses are going into quarantine for 60 days. The birds are going into quarantine for 30 days. And the dogs are going into quarantine for 48 hours. Everything that goes with the animal into quarantine that cannot be run through a sanitizer will be thrown into the trash. So
yeah, that's what I thought. So there's your answer on that. By the way, so Neener, when I came back, my cat was with me immediately after the 2.5 hour wait. He got into America before I did. So you guys refugees got to wait 48 hours for your dogs and cats. I got my cat immediately.
That's because South Africa is apparently a zombie wasteland of diseases or something, according to the CDC.
That's true, but I'm talking about the cat I brought back through Frankfurt. That's how I got him right away. And by the way, he cost me $75. That wasn't too bad. Prince was a cheap date back then, but when I brought him back from Botswana, I had to sell a kidney to pay for those damn flights. Anyway, okay, so another question by Kathleen Schultz-Bolso. Are titers arranged when we're approved or long ahead based on SOI? Let me answer that, and you correct me where I get it wrong. I like this approach where I'm answering the questions, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm making assumptions, but they're informed assumptions. Okay, so I would guess that you should be getting your pets rabies shots now, because you have to wait 28 days before you can get a titer. So, I mean, go get the rabies shot if you haven't done it already. Then get the titer once it's done, once you get past the 28-day window. And it's good for 1 year. So, I mean, we're talking about people we expect all to be over here within a year. So, I mean, is that good advice? Yes, that is exactly what I would tell them. There you go, man. See? I'm not even on the board of this organization. I'm nailing it. All right. Yeah, and Indy makes the point that microchipping is the only way to identify your pet. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, they have fingerprints or, we're testing their DNA. So that's how you identify the pet. What else we got here? chips are cheap, and Morgan is correct. They're still a very cheap offer, and we should all be on our knees being thankful. Napoleon paid $200 for microchip. That's what someone else said. I don't have pups vaccine card anymore. Can they get their shots again? You know, I get shots again. I mean, I get stupid yellow fever shot a second time because those clowns at OR Tambo. I had the shot record with me. They wouldn't accept it because the paper wasn't yellow. Idiots. So yeah, they can get their shots again. That isn't going to hurt them, right, Morgan?
Yeah, they can get their shots again. And it's recommended that you have a shot card that can be attached to those documents that we're talking about for export. Because like I said, well, maybe I haven't said this. You need to have the most perfect documentation as we leave Africa, more so even than when you enter, just because of how the customs officials have been behaving. So you need to make sure you have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed so that every one of these dogs gets on the plane and I wave goodbye to South Africa to head back to the United States where it will be nice and chilly.
Yeah. It's definitely chilly starting in October, November, December. Definitely going to be cold here as fall and winter come. So Jessica Lab 2020 says, in Nicole's defense, she has been very helpful and only wants to help, and she's not, all caps, scamming anybody. In fact, received everything she's promised us. Well, thank you for sharing that, Jessica. But the whole purpose of this conversation is that she's not part of Operation Pet Lift, and she, according to Morgan and Marco, she's been speaking on behalf and implying and giving the impression that she's part of it and raising money in their name, which is illegal. Did I get something wrong, Morgan?
Okay, so I think I'm a nice person. So I will say this. I appreciate the things that she tried to do with raising, with like actually making those vaccine drives. That was very kind of her. She's been arranging for people to get jobs in a certain location. That's wonderful. I have had several complaints that they have not received either wormer or a microchip. And if you as an individual place a microchip in an animal, and you are not a veterinarian, it actually delegitimizes that microchip. And she was encouraging people to do those sort of things that would have wasted that microchip, and they would have to re-microchip that animal. And so that's why I'm saying these things. It's not because I think that she's a bad person. I think that she cares very deeply. If she wants to contact me, I gave her my email and my phone number, and she can at any point in time. And I guess my thing is I just don't want somebody to spend money on a microchip and not be able to use it. I don't want them to have their paperwork made fraudulent, or them have to ask somebody for an extra microchip. And if she hasn't sent people wormer, I have to look at that and see why that didn't happen. Because I am a 501c3 and I have certain ethical and legal responsibilities that go along with that to maintain our 501c3 status. And I've had multiple complaints, and that's why I did what I did.
Oh, and it also reflects in your organization when people are frustrated, and it's not even your organization that's letting them down, but it's your reputation that's on the line.
Yes.
Okay. So who was that said that? So Jessica Lab 2020, that's what's going on here. But thank you for saying that she's not scamming anybody. That's good to know. She's not scamming anybody because I have not had her on. I just know that she slandered me, if I'm not mistaken, some time ago. Maybe it wasn't her. If it wasn't her, then my apologies. But my recollection, it was her. So, yeah, a lot of people talking about you can get the microchipping done relatively inexpensively. So there's a couple questions here about destinations. And so Olga wants to know, is the first flight go to New York? I don't think that's something that they're willing to answer. I know I wouldn't answer it because there's still some operational security related to what's going on here. So people are asking if the first flight's to New York. Is there a flight going to Houston? I think the answer right now is that that's frankly not available for public discussion, correct?
No, that would be a security issue. Wait 1 second. I had somebody show up that I wasn't expecting. I will be right back.
All right. Well, I'll keep them entertained while you're gone. Let's go back to the speaker, so it's just me. So give her a second to get in there, folks. I hope you're finding this helpful. I had not planned on doing this live broadcast. I have other things to do. But apparently this was a big brouhaha, and a lot of people are losing their crap in groups. And so we're trying to keep people informed as best as possible, which I've been doing all along. Again, I'm not the RefG guy. I'm just an objective, independent journalist trying to bring you the facts. And that's why we're talking to Morgan. Right. So appreciate her being here. Are you back? There, she's back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. When you have 4 dogs, the excitement level when somebody arrives is very high. So I apologize for the background noise.
It's quite all right.
And I guess the thing is like, if somebody issues you a, friendly email that says, please don't use our name, and then you continue to do it under Wyoming state statute, that actually is fraud.
Yeah.
That would be the only
well,
thing
that's fraud under most states when you've asked them politely to do it. That's not even required in many locales. You just get a cease and desist order against them. But yeah, so if you've asked politely. Now 36046 is birds 30-day quarantine. I don't think my bird will survive 3 days without me and my voice, and she starts plucking her feathers. Well, I don't know what to tell you, 36046, because you're not going to get around that 30-day quarantine because of avian influenza and all these other bird diseases. That's just a requirement. Am I wrong, Morgan?
No, the requirement for South Africa for avians is that we're testing them before and doing a buccal swab that will be processed by the USDA. For Newcastle and avian flu, then they have to be held for 30 days. And then, somewhere around the 14-day mark, they test them again for avian flu and Newcastle's, and then they release them to you. I would say this to kind of put their mind at ease. They have a lot of people who are really good animal handlers there, and they do have like 4 or 5 veterinarians on staff, and a lot of them are specializing in avian and birds. So I would say that like avian veterinarian specialty. So I would say that they probably are going to make sure that they take really good care of your animal, and they will call you if your animal is having some kind of abnormal behavior, and see what you do to, relieve that kind of stress.
1440 says, what pisses me off is that everyone just kicked off the group. For those of us who are not on Facebook, that was our only link. 2 things I'll say to that 1440, and then you can weigh on this, Morgan. Number 1, those groups have nothing to do with Operation Pet Lift, so your anger needs to be directed at the people that own the group. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's not your only link. You have the website. So if you're not on Facebook, that's why they have the website. Because as I jokingly said to Morgan earlier when I called her grandma, because she's on Facebook, not everybody uses Facebook. That's for blue-haired tawnies and 12-year-old girls these days. So you do have an option there. You have the website you can go to for information. And again, direct your anger, please, at those folks if you got kicked out of the groups, because it had nothing to do with Morgan or with Marco, correct?
Correct. Those things were done mainly because we were seeing a lot of misinformation. We're trying to streamline that so that nobody will end up having the issues that I said, like invalidated microchips and the rest of that. So I guess my intention with that was, number 1, I didn't control any of those. Number 2, I do not believe that Marco controlled any of those. What we did was we closed down things that were using our name and didn't actually operate underneath our operational and corporate banner. And then the second thing that I would say is sometime in the next 3 days, because we have our bank account, my treasurer will be opening a WhatsApp group through WeChat, and then you'll be able to discuss things on that are actually, only for, Operation Pet Lift, and it will be supported by our website page.
All right, cool beans. Flamingo Tech says the program is going slow. I don't know what program you're referring to. You're talking about Operation Pet Lift. I don't think it's going slowly. If you have any idea of the level of coordination between various actors, airlines, Department of State, South African government, veterinarians, transportation services on this side, I would say it's moving at rather very fast pace. I think you South Africans really need to adjust your attitude and your view about what's fast and what's not fast. I mean, frankly, guys, if anyone takes offense to that, then you need to get over yourself and your feelings being hurt, because you had no hope, you had no offer, nobody gave you anything until February 7th. And here we are just a few months later, and people are already over here in the hundreds, living in America, not having paid to come over here, being handed money, being handed houses, living in wonderful locations, and having a chance at peace and prosperity. And people are going out of their way, volunteering here. I think that they're moving with alacrity. I don't see any slow pace to this. And I think people need to start appreciating this, because nobody owes you anything. And if that hurts somebody's feelings, then you're on the wrong channel. we're here to inform people, but it's moving very fast as far as I'm concerned. Morgan, this is an incredibly complicated undertaking you're doing, and you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart. I don't think it's moving slow. Do you feel you're moving slow?
From my understanding, developing a concept and then moving it to a nonprofit, having a business plan, clearing yourself through the IRS to be nonprofit charitable status, and then making all the connections with the appropriate government agencies, the CDC, the USDA, the IRS, and the State Department, and I have to talk to 2 bureaus in that. I feel like we're actually moving at a very good pace. I feel like we're doing good.
Well, let me just throw something out there. I'm commander of VFW, and our VFW, through the neglect of someone in the past, had failed to file all its tax returns. Even though we're tax exempt, you still got to file a return. And if you do that for 3 years without filing it, they delist you from nonprofit status. We've been trying to get relisted for nonprofit status for 17 months now. You've created an NGO and got licensed and have a board of directors and a business plan and have gotten funding for all this stuff in just a couple of months. So, look, I'm not lashing out at the person who made the comment, but I'm just saying that people need to be realistic here. I mean, what is happening here is moving at an incredibly fast pace, and I think it's impressive. Also, it looks like, I'm not defending your organization, but it appears as if you've put safety measures in place to ensure that your organization remains above board with a board of directors and also some standards. So actually, I got to say, I'm kind of impressed.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. And that was what we were going for, is a professional organization that actually has durability and can actually help these people. So.
Gotcha. So 360 at 46, I anticipate your question, but I was kind of hoping you wouldn't ask it. And here it comes, Morgan. So, and the reason I say this is because if you land in Atlanta and you get relocated to Idaho, because this is what 360 said, I understand quarantine. However, could we visit during this time, considering my parrot literally starts going into depression? Well, here's the thing. If you're going to be in Idaho and you want to come visit your parrot in Atlanta, that's not going to be so easy unless you got money to spend. Or if you want to just rent a hotel for a month before you get to your destination, it's not logistically feasible, is what my expectation would be. Did I miss something, Morgan?
Okay, so you also have to remember that what they're quarantining the animal for can be carried out on your clothing or your hands or inside your body and transported by bugs. And so avian flu is actually something humans can catch and have caught. And so unfortunately, I hated having to tell my horse people this, and I happened to tell the bird people this. Unfortunately, also due to security risks, because they had some people from foreign country try to implant animal diseases in their animals right toward the end of quarantine. Nobody is allowed to be in the quarantine. It's not them trying to be cruel. It's them protecting our citizens and our birds. And when you come to live here, they're going to be protecting you too. It's a difficult situation, and I understand that. And the veterinarians, they're very understanding. And I will probably be able to get you some FaceTime where you can see your bird, because like I said, they love animals. They work for the U.S. government. They're kind people. They're trying to help you. And I know it's a difficult situation.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I think that's the fair point. So, I mean, beyond my impracticality of it, it's actually a medical issue. And that's why they're quarantined, so you can't see them or you can't be near them. There's a comment here from, where's it at? From Altruism saying, Chris, you have to understand with 142 racist laws, a lot of people don't have employment. Well, altruism, you have to understand that I didn't just walk in the door. I've been covering South Africa since 1980. I'm well aware of the situation. I've been there hundreds of times. I go there several times a year. I'm well aware of it. And it's 145 racist laws, by the way. 3 recently were approved. So you're a little behind on that. But that doesn't change the situation. Whether you're employed or not doesn't change the requirement for the things you must do to come here. Whether it's get a passport, or it's get yourself to the airport, or it's pay for your accommodation when you go for an interview. That's not going to change. That's going to be there. The good news for you is if you're in this program and you want to bring pets, Morgan and Marco and these guys are going out of their way to try to reduce the cost to you to as little as nothing, if possible. And that's amazing. I mean, look. No one paid the $2,800 I had to pay to bring my damn cats back from Botswana, and no one paid the $5,800 it took for me to get them over there. That came out of my pocket. I'm not a wealthy man. So these guys are doing some amazing stuff for you guys. But I do appreciate your comment, altruism, but you're not talking to some rube that doesn't know what's going on in South Africa. I'm just trying to tell you how it is. Some people's feelings are hurt. They need to get over themselves. It's a tough world out there. The world's full of competition. And if it wasn't a competitive world, then we wouldn't be killed by diseases and by viruses and by bacteria and fungus and stuff like that. All right. So Flamingo Tech wants to know chat and info WhatsApp group. Well, refugee, I have no idea what you're asking there. I have 2 refugee groups in WhatsApp, but you can't chat in them. It's only receive. That way there's none of this cock prodding going on. Nobody bullshitting. It's just, you getting information. If you want to join those, you can come to one of the live streams like we had earlier. We'll put you in there. But right now, both groups filled back up. We had some spaces. They filled up today. There's also one on Telegram. You can join the Telegram. That is 120,000 limit or something like that. So I can let people join that all day long. Okay. What else? All right. But Leon says, very helpful. The last few days was hell for many of us. I'm assuming that's the stuff going on in the WhatsApp group, what she's talking about there.
Yeah, and I know it was very confusing, and I think it actually scared a lot of people, and that's very unfortunate. Like I said, I think Nicole was trying to be helpful, but I don't think that she understands the kind of destructive...
The harm that was done. The confusion was created.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and it really hurt a lot of people and caused them a lot of fear, and that's not something you want to do.
Well, I mean, that's why we're here when I haven't eaten all day at 6 p.m. I've been working since 7 this morning because we're trying to eliminate that fear for people as best we can. You guys, I mean, was I responsive, Morgan? You wrote me, and as soon as I saw it, I responded, didn't I?
Yeah, no, you've been great, and I really appreciate you helping us clear this up because I just want to make sure that they understand we're above board. I care about all of them, and that actually includes Nicole. I'm not going to kick her off my flight. I just need her to talk to me and understand that what her behavior has been is very destructive, and it's not appropriate, and it's not actually conducive to the goals that we're trying to meet, which is resettle people here, have the animals come safely, and meet legal guidelines by respecting the laws of both nations.
Gotcha. And that's great. Leon says got a rabies injection for his cat, but the vet didn't give him a certificate. Oops. Can't you go back to the vet and get one? Or is it too late for that? I wonder. And then 1440 says, my anger is not towards Morgan and Marco. I didn't assume it was. I just want to make sure. See, guys, you have to understand, when I bring things in from the chat, and it's a comment you've made, it isn't always directed back at you. It's oftentimes something I've heard more than once, and I make that point repeatedly. So I try to go out of my way to make sure that people don't take offense because I'm using what you say to elevate a point that needs to be discussed. So I don't think Marco or Morgan took offense. I certainly did. He said, you were upset about the WhatsApp group. I get it. And you're not the only one. That's why I said it 1440. There are a lot of people whose feelings were hurt with good reason about being kicked out or being mistreated in the groups. And so, I was kicked out of a group that I was invited into by someone in a refugee group invited me into there. I went in there and I was kicked out. And I never even said anything. I never even made a comment. But because some shitbirds lied about me and spread rumors about me, I was kicked out by an admin in that group after I was invited by the owner of the group. So, people act like children in WhatsApp groups all the time. I mean, how do you kick somebody out of a group when they've never even contributed to it? They've never said anything. I mean, you couldn't possibly have run afoul of the rules when you haven't said anything. But thank you, 1440. Appreciate that. Devin Steenkamp says, okay, I did some research on Google and the pet lift portal. It would cost about $2,200, including the flights, chips, 501 rabies, customs, and documents. $2,200. So 1,000 would be, that's about 40,000 Rand. Yeah, there you go, about 40,000 Rand. Well, $2,200 is a lot less than I paid in 2010 to bring my pets back. So just keep that in mind. Join the chat late. Can you please post a pin? It's, again, Karen, it's below the video. Look below the video in the description. It's the only thing there at the top. It's there. Okay. And Ordia says a very good pace for the program. Flamingo Texas got it. Okay. And then what else we got here? Shireen says, Morgan and Chris, you're both angels. Wow, that's very kind of her. I didn't get my wings yet. Let me know when you get your wings. That's pretty cool. Thank you for all you're doing. People, take a deep breath and be thankful for everything that's being done to help everyone. Love your Boston. Very cute. And I have two. Oh, I guess it's your dog walking by. That's why. And Anime
She's
says,
underneath the table now.
Okay. Well, Anime says Morgan has moved mountains in record time. I would agree. It's unbelievable how much Morgan and all the people have done behind the scenes. Yeah, and that's another thing, folks. So I've only had Morgan on the one time previously, and I know what's going on, but I mean, I don't bother them. I don't ask, even though people are curious. So I'm kind of glad. I'm not glad this episode happened that we had to do this live stream, but I'm actually glad for the opportunity that we had a conversation ahead of this, Marco and Morgan and I did, and also for this stream, because we can update people on what's going on. I mean, this platform does reach a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people, despite what YouTube tries to claim. So that's good. All right. Please confirm that there are only 7 airports the U.S. can receive animals from abroad due to CDC requirements. I think that's true.
I believe that's true. I'm trying to count them in my head. There's one in Pennsylvania. There's one in New York. One in Charlottesville. One in Miami. One in Atlanta. And then there is one in California. I'm not quite sure how many that is.
Okay. Yeah. So a couple more things here come up very quickly, Morgan. I got here late. Has Operation Pet Lift helped with the pets? No, there's a proof of concept flight that hasn't come yet, Napoleon. It will be coming. I missed WhatsApp during Shabbat. Okay, Haz, then I'm guessing you're Jewish by sharing that. That's your business. But you shared Shabbat. I mean, I'm a Christian. I don't hang. Shabbat, I'm busy doing other things. Okay, of the WhatsApp group, info entailed that refugee interviews are being held in Cape Town. I don't know what WhatsApp group you're talking about, anime. I can't confirm that any interviews are being in Cape Town. I have no information if that's the case. People are making the claims. To my knowledge, every time that come up, we've been able to refute it because we're only aware of it happening so far in Pretoria and Joburg. And you will get phone calls, but that's a screening from the RSC guys out of Kenya. Ricky Jose says, Morgan, my dog is diabetic. She gets insulin injections every 12 hours. Will you be able to give her injections? Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So the Gateway people that we're using have requested, because they have vets on staff. They've requested that information like that is passed along. We will have a vet on the flight, so we'll be able to do that as long as your dog is handleable, as long as they're not like freaking out and trying to eat the fingers of the vet off. We will make sure that we meet their medical requirements. And I know that they will at Gateway as well.
Okay. For Flamingo Tech, the refugee group, if you're talking about a WhatsApp group and it's my groups, you say you need to get in so bad, but you don't. Because basically what goes in there is links to the videos when I produce information about the refugee group. And you don't have to be in the group to get that information. I mean, it's rare that I post text or something like that or a link to Twitter or something like that. So pretty much you can keep up on what's going on in the refugee group by simply watching my channel or going to my playlist of videos that are related to the refugee. And there's a playlist. So it's you don't have to be in the group. You can keep up just by being proactive. Napoleon Dynamite says he has one issue with Pet Lift's portal. There seems to be a SRI mismatch with their hashing. So it can be caused by a man in the middle attack, security risk. No idea what he's talking about.
We'll have to refer that to Marco.
Yep.
I have an IT team that's led by like 2 individuals. If there's an issue with that, just go ahead, send that information to Marco, and then we will go ahead and see what like Jaden and some of those guys have to say about it. Because I don't want your information to be vulnerable. Like I said, we want to be open and we want to be compliant with privacy laws as well.
Gotcha. Flamingo Tech says, I cannot afford to make my way to the embassy, and neither do I have time. Well, I don't know if you're really here or you're trolling. You cannot afford to make your way to the embassy. I empathize with that, but there are ways to do it. There are people to stay with. But you don't have the time? Now it sounds like you're just trolling. Either your life is in jeopardy and you got to get the hell out of Dodge, or you don't. I mean, why wouldn't you have the time? Are you busy, on PlayStation? Or are you busy, not having a job? I mean, I don't understand that at all. I don't mean to be insensitive, but your comment just doesn't make any sense. It sounds like you're trolling. Okay, Napoleon says, tell her, whoever created the portal, check it out. She's going to do that. Leon Monroe says, Colonel and Morgan, I think this operation funding and setup are getting things in place extremely fast for such a short time. I know how long these things can take. They do. Okay. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, Susan Von Vike, thank you for mentioning that. Oh, Sue Marie says, I'm an angel too. Yeah, but I haven't got my wings. I do feel some horns up here, though. Anyway, Indy says, this has set my mind at ease. Thank you for everything, guys. It includes you, Chris. Well, you're very welcome, Indy. Thank you for being here. Must all pay it forward and volunteer to help Pet Lift when they're settled in the U.S. There you go. Janine Scenes, no, there isn't an airport in Pennsylvania. Colonel doesn't want anyone living in his lawn. Stay off my lawn. Yeah, no, there is an airport. There's a bunch of airports in Pennsylvania, but none of them are near my house. Okay. All right. I think we've exhausted the questions there, Morgan. We've been at this for an hour and 43 minutes. So the bottom line, let me just wrap up what we've talked about here and make sure we're straight. So this wasn't an effort to attack anyone, but it was an effort to set the record straight that the WhatsApp groups that are out there right now are not part of Operation Pet Lift. You had some early on, but you've removed them because the confusion was creating and all the people with bad information, so you got rid of them. So anything that's being discussed in those groups, you can't speak to the validity of them. They're not part of it. If you have not gone to the Operation Pet Lift portal on their website or through the Facebook site and put your information there, then you're not in the queue. You need to do that immediately if you want to be part of this. The proof of concept flight has not taken place yet. It is upcoming. We can't disclose when, and we can't disclose which airports. If you have a pet with all kinds of problems, worse than your grandpa, with diabetes and a bad hip like me, and and shortness of breath and all kinds of other stuff, they will have veterinarians on the flight. It's going to be addressed. Your pets are going to be quarantined when they arrive here. You have no control over that. That's just the way it is. We have agricultural requirements coming in this country and responsibilities to our wildlife, to our livestock, to our pets, and to our human population. So there's no way around that. And then I think the point of this was that you ask for Nicole to stop misrepresenting that she was part of Operation Pet Lift, either willfully saying it or by omission, allowing people to believe it, and raising money under the concept of Operation Pet Lift, because she's not doing it on Operation Pet Lift's behalf. Although she did share the data that was collected. Marco did say that data did come to you guys. And you are saying that Nicole has been helpful. She's also done some things. She has a kind heart, but she cannot be running around and letting people believe that she's Operation Pet Lift when she's not. Okay, that's my summary of what I believe I heard in this conversation.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And I'm doing it more so that people aren't confused, that they understand, because I have been told by people who are on her group, since she's kicked all my people off, but other people have contacted me. They've said that she's saying that we don't have the organizational skills to pull this off and that they need to listen to her. And I need to dispel that as well.
Oh, wow. Okay, that didn't come up in the course of the conversation. That's rather aggressive if she did that. And also, I'm not sure the basis she has for that. Morgan, you and I don't know each other particularly well. We've talked briefly. I asked you about your service in the military. And you know about my background, and I would say that I'm comfortable based on everything I've heard in our private conversations and also what we've talked about in here, that you certainly seem to be much better switched on than most people. I mean, I'm incredibly impressed that your organization got registered as a 501c so quickly. You reached out to the State Department and the embassy. You're in contact with them about this, and they're actually working with you to make this come to fruition. I mean, it sounds to me like everything that came up today. We talked about pet carriers. We talked about titer tests. We talked about bizarre one-eyed, three-legged horses that are flying sideways with wings like Pegasus. You've thought of all this stuff. Maybe there'll be something that you forgot about, but I would say that if that was said about you guys, it seems unjust unless someone can point to something specific where you failed. I don't see you as failing. So again, I'm not here to puff you up, but I am here to say that I have to be honest, and it seems to me like you guys have really got a good handle on things.
Yes, and I guess that's the thing, is I just want to dispel those concerns for people too, because my main intention is to try to get it to where people are able to make it here in a fast and safe manner, that their animals are safe, that they're taken care of, and I just want to make sure everything's legal as well. And so I guess I feel that we are meeting all those requirements, and I don't want people to think that we're not, and then, put their dog to sleep or something with how much effort we put in to save these animals.
No, 100% with you. And Alan's kind of bent out of shape. He's upset. His feelings hurt because he can't bring his shark. Sorry about that, buddy. You can't bring the shark. And there's one
or
thing.
A snake, or a spider, or a scorpion. I have nixed all of that.
So Anime says thank you to Chris, Morgan, Marco, Elaine, Benita, and the team at Pet Lift. From my end, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure to do this, but I will be getting something to eat here shortly because I'm not a diabetic, but I think my blood sugar's running low. It's been a long day. Morgan, any final?
Yeah, we don't want you to pass out.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be good on air, you know. But Morgan, any final thoughts? Anything you want to say here to folks? I mean, I think that this live stream should go a long way to making a few people nervous, which wasn't the intent, who realized that maybe they need to go to the portal now and put the information in. They hadn't done that in the past because they were misinformed. And for most people who've done that, they should feel reassured about the process, is my thought. So I'll let you put your comments in here. You've had a little bit of slow internet. Looks like it's picked back up again. So let me get you on the screen. The screen is yours to share whatever you want with the audience.
Okay, so I guess I feel like this interview went pretty well. I've addressed all of my concerns. Like I said, if anybody has any more concerns or they have comments, they can go ahead and address us. And, you know, my email and phone number are on the bottom of that cease and desist, and any of you guys can contact me via email. Unfortunately, due to how much work I'm doing currently to actually clear your pets and arrange for, you know, different things like trying to work with the pet friendly housing, probably not going to answer the phone right away. And I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about that. So,
all right, cool beans, Morgan.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, Chris, and I appreciate the support you've given our organization, and I will try to make sure that we remain above board, and I will be in contact with you. And we finally do have a PR person, so I'll probably have him touch base with you once or twice a week, just so you know where we're at.
All right, cool beans. Yeah, you know, I'm available for a board seat. No. So just two quick ones here before we go. Jessica asked if dogs need to be sterilized. No, your dog doesn't have to be sterilized to come to America, do they?
No. So animals don't have to be sterilized. They don't have to be spayed or neutered to make it through customs. You know, I've had some people say it might be an animal welfare issue, but if your animal's under a certain age or there's a reason why you haven't sterilized it or you just don't have the funding to do so, sterilizing your pet can be done here in the United States, and probably cheaper than you can do it in South Africa. So if it's more of a funding issue once you get here and you get a job, since we don't have 48 laws keeping you from being employed, then you'll be able to do that. So
there you go. Now, you may not need to sterilize your pets, but I think some of you might need to be sterilized. I just say, oh, that's going to go over like a lead balloon. Just kidding, folks. Take it in the sense it was portrayed. No, but seriously. And then they asked someone about the titers for the cats. The cats don't have to do the titers, so it's just the dogs. And you mentioned rabbits and others, but not the cats. Okay, yeah. Morgan, thank you so much. It's a pleasure, as usual. I enjoyed you being here tonight. And thank you for helping inform people. Yep. Folks, we've been on for almost 2 hours. I hope we've answered most, if not all, your questions. I know we missed a few. Those who want to volunteer, go to the portal and however you communicate there and let them know that you want to volunteer if you're able to do that. All right, Morgan, thanks a lot. You have a good night. And, good night. It's still afternoon for you, so enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Yeah, it is. I will.
Right. I'll let you drop off, and then I'll wrap up.
Okay, sounds good. Talk to you later.
All right, folks, that's Morgan from Operation Pet Lift. Let me help her out there. Oh, she's going to get there. Participants, hang on a second. There you go. Okay, good. She got out. Okay. All right, I hope that was helpful. And again, nothing malicious meant by it. They asked me to talk to them about this. The idea was to clarify things for people. Nothing malicious about it. So if people start saying bad things about me, I will strike back. All we did was provide information. You can take whatever you want from it and use it however you want. But if you want to participate with Operation Pet Lift, you need to go on the portal on their website, which is below the video. And that also takes you you get there, it'll take you to Facebook if you want to use Facebook. Okay. That's the only place you can get something done with them at the moment. All right. You guys have a lovely night. Thanks for being here. And tomorrow we've got the Griquas hosting the Bolin Cavaliers on Rugby Ascendant, and also be doing the news. And we'll do the refugee chat tomorrow as well. All right, that's it. Cheers, everybody. Take care of yourself. We'll see you later. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done that. Okay. All right. Appreciate that. Bye bye. Oh, I did it again. This window is above. It's the second time that's happened. So this window got moved around on me. Hang on a second here. Where's the window at so I can shut it down? There it is. It's right above what I need. Okay, now we take care of it. There you go. Now it's gone. Cheers, everybody. Have a good night.